Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, we'll study another subtopic of torque revisited, that is moment arm and the angle of application. How the moment arm changes with respect to angle of application and how the torque changes as the moment arm changes with respect to angle of application. Now let us start guys. First, it's a definition. What is angle of application? I'll define the definition with respect to this diagram. Angle of application is the angle formed by the intersection of a force vector and the segment to which it is applied. Okay, and considering that is on the joint axis. For example, this is the joint axis. So the angle of application of a vector is defined as the angle formed by the force vector, by the intersection. It is this force vector is intersecting at this point to the segment. This is the segment, and this angle which is formed, and considering that this angle which is formed is on the joint axis, towards the joint axis, onto the side of the joint axis. That is the definition of the angle of application. Now how you will identify the angle of application? The angle of application is identified when the angle that is formed by the intersection of the force vector on the segment, and this angle should be on the side of the joint axis. This is how you identify the angle of application. Simple guys, this is the joint axis. The angle which is formed on the side of the joint axis is the angle of application. That's how you identify. Now let us define what is moment arm. The moment arm is a length of a line that is perpendicular to the force vector and intersecting the joint axis. See guys, this is the, for example, this is the forearm segment. Okay, now the moment, this is the force vector, the red arrow indicates the force vector, and this is the joint axis. This is the length of a line that is perpendicular to the force vector. This is the force vector that is perpendicular to the force vector, and it must intersect the joint axis. This is the moment arm. Okay guys, okay. Now as the angle of application decreases, the moment arm also decreases. Okay, as the angle of application AOP decreases, moment arm also decreases. Okay, why? Because the force vector which is making an angle, if it is close to the joint axis, obviously the moment arm will decrease. For example, if the force vector, if the angle of application of the force vector is some about nearly 80 degrees in this case, then if you trace the moment arm of this force vector, definitely it will be larger, greater in length than this example. Okay, for example, this is around 30 degrees. As the angle of application is 30 degrees, the moment arm is also smaller. As the angle of application of the force vector increased, in this case it is 80 degrees, then the length of the moment arm also increased. Now when the angle of application of a force vector is applied beyond 90 degrees to the segment, then how to trace the moment arm of this force vector which is applied at this angle? Now, in order to draw the length of the moment arm, we need to extend the tail of this force vector so that it will be nearly towards the joint axis. Now, this is the joint axis, and draw a perpendicular to this force vector. Okay, this is the moment arm when the angle of application of a force vector is greater than 90 degrees. Okay, for all the forces, whether it's an internal force, for example it's a muscular force, or the external force, that is the gravitational force, for example, the moment arm will be smallest. Moment arm will be smallest when the force vector is applied parallel, when the force vector, if this is the segment, this is the segment, when the force vector is applied nearly parallel, then the moment arm will be smallest. Okay, simple guys. If the force vector is applied nearly parallel, that is at 0 degrees or at 180 degrees, then the moment arm will be smallest. The length of the moment arm will be greater when the force vector is applied perpendicular to that of the segment, that is at 90 degrees. In this case, the moment arm will be, the length of the moment arm will be greater. Now, I'll give examples of the elbow flexion angles, and I will trace the moment arm with respect to the gravitational force. For example, this is the humerus and this is the forearm and hand segment. Then, for example, if the point of application of the gravitational force is here, then the gravitational force will act in this direction. And now to trace the to draw the length of the moment arm of this gravitational force, and the elbow, this is at the elbow flexion, that is 35 degrees. The elbow is at 35 degrees of flexion. Now, to draw the length of the moment arm, we have to extend the tail of the gravitational force. Okay, this is the gravity. Now, draw the perpendicular, this is the joint axis, draw the perpendicular. Okay, this is the moment arm of the, with respect to gravitational force, when the elbow is flexed to 35 degrees. Now, when the elbow is flexed to 70 degrees, what will be the length of the moment arm? Same, the point of application of the gravitational force is here. This is the gravity acting in the downward direction, and extend the tail of the vector, force vector, and draw the perpendicular. Now, when the elbow is at 90 degrees of flexion, this is the point of application of the gravitational force. Now, extend a bit and draw the perpendicular from the joint axis towards the force vector. This is the moment arm. Now, when the elbow is at 145 degrees of flexion, now this is the point of application of the gravitational force. Okay, now draw a perpendicular from the joint axis to the force vector. As you can see in all these examples, when the elbow is at 35 degrees, when the elbow is at 35 degrees of flexion, and the elbow is at 70 degrees of flexion, 90 degrees of flexion, and 145 degrees of flexion, as the position of the forearm and hand segment changes, the length of the moment arm is keep on changing, even though the gravitational force magnitude is remain constant. Now here, when the elbow is at 35 degrees of flexion, the moment arm is smaller. When it is 70 degrees of flexion, a little bit larger. When the elbow is at 90 degrees of flexion, the moment arm is greatest in length. And when it comes to 145 degrees of flexion, the moment arm has decreased. And when the point of application of a force vector is directly proportional to its moment arm. Okay, now guys, and also it is directly proportional to the position of the segment. Okay, and we all know the torque, as the moment arm increases, the torque also increases. In these cases, the torque production will be little bit smaller compared to this, and torque production will be greater when the elbow is flexed to 90 degrees, and the torque production is reduced from 90 degrees of elbow flexion to 145 degrees of elbow flexion. That is with respect to only gravity, which is an external force. Okay, here I did not talk about the internal force. Okay, now we'll see how the length of the moment arm changes with different angles of applications. Okay, that is with respect to muscular force. Now if this is the elbow joint which is flexed to 35 degrees, same as I described in the previous example, that is with respect to the gravitational force. Now I will explain with respect to the muscular force, that is an internal force. Now in this, the elbow is flexed to 70 degrees, and here elbow is flexed to 90, and here it is 145 degrees. Now these are the different types of angles of applications, that is 35, 70, 90 and 145, and in these different types of angles of application, we will draw the length of the moment arm with respect to the internal force. Now for example, if you take the biceps brachii muscle, which is very easy to understand, which inserts at the radial tuberosity of the radius. Now if the force vector, the internal force vector acts in this direction, that is in the upward direction. Now in order to draw, now we can draw the moment arm by drawing a perpendicular line towards the to the force vector and it intersecting the joint axis. Okay, this is the moment arm of a muscular force, that is FMS. Okay, when the elbow is flexed to 35 degrees. Now we'll see when the elbow is flexed to 70 degrees. FMS, draw a perpendicular. Okay, this is with respect to 70 degrees. Now we'll draw when the elbow is flexed to 90 degrees. This is the moment arm. Now here the force vector, muscular force vector is acting direction. If we draw, this is the momentum. As you can see, as the angle of application changes, the length of the moment arm also changes, and also the torque production. Here the length of the moment arm is smallest, as if it is parallel to that of this segment. Okay, the muscular force is parallel to that of this segment, very parallel. Okay, now here, as the angle of application of the segment changes, the moment arm has also changed. It has increased from 35 degrees of elbow flexion to 70 degrees. Here it is little bit increased. Now when it comes to 90 degrees, it has increased further. The length of the moment arm has increased further, and there will be a greater torque production when the elbow is flexed to 90 degrees. And when it comes to 145 degrees of flexion, the moment arm's length has decreased from 90 to 145, and a lesser torque production. Okay, this is with respect to the angle of application, how the angle of application changes the moment arm with respect to a gravitational force, that is one of the example, and with respect to a muscular force. Now we will see how the gravitational moment arm changes by changing the center of mass. Okay, these are the three examples of a graded exercises for the abdominal musculature. And the axis of rotation, this is the point in each of these examples, is located at the vertebral interspace of L5 and S1, and the head, arms and the trunk rotate around this axis of rotation. Okay, axis of rotation. Now if you closely observe in these three examples, the arm positions are slightly different. In this, the arms are raised above the head, slightly lowered below the head, and further lowered, and this causes the rearrangement of the mass and shift of center of mass. Okay, now we will draw the moment arm in each of these examples. Now as the arms are raised above the head, the center of mass of the head, arms and trunk, that is HAT, is shifted closely towards the head. This is the center of mass. Okay, so the line of the gravity acts in this direction. Okay, this is the gravity, and if you draw a perpendicular to this force vector and intersecting the joint axis, that is the moment arm of this particular position. Now when the arms are lowered a bit below the head, then the center of mass shifts for a little bit downward compared to this when the arms are raised above. Okay, now this is the gravity acting in this in the downward direction, and this is the moment arm. Now in this example, the arms are further lowered. Okay, hence resulting in the further lowering of the center of mass. Okay, and this is the line of gravity acting in this direction, and this is the moment arm. If you can see in all these examples, as the arms are lowered, the length of the moment arm has decreased. Okay, now here the length, in this example, the length of the moment arm is greatest, hence the torque production is also greatest. Okay, now the gravity produces an extension torque in the counterclockwise direction resulting in extension moment of the head, arms and the trunk. Okay, in order to maintain this position in rotatory equilibrium, the abdominal musculature must exert an equal torque in the flexion direction, in this direction. Okay, in order to counterbalance this, the gravity is producing an extension moment, and the flexion, this happen in this direction in order to maintain this. Okay, now here the moment arm is quite a bit lesser compared to this position, hence a lesser torque is produced and the abdominal muscles require a lesser force to maintain this position in a rotatory equilibrium. When you come in into this example, the center of mass has further shifted downwards and the moment arm is further reduced in length and a lesser torque is produced, hence the abdominal muscles require less force compared to these two in order to maintain the position in a rotatory equilibrium. Now here the mass of the upper limbs remains constant, but the relocation of the center of mass from this point to this point to this point cause the change in the torque production. The change in the torque production is greatest in this example and lesser and very lesser in this example. Hence it is easy to maintain this position, okay, because a less torque is produced and a less torque is required by the abdominal muscles to maintain this position. And if this position is very hard to maintain because a greater moment arm is produced due to a shift in the center of mass towards the head, and a greater force production, that is the greater force production is required by the abdominal muscles, and a greater torque production is also required to maintain this segment in the rotatory equilibrium. This is all about the changing the gravitational moment arm by changing the center of mass, and this also ends the subtopic of the torque revisited, which is a moment arm and the angle of application. Thanks for watching, guys. Please do subscribe to my channel, like and share with your friends. If you have any doubts, do comment. Thanks for watching.